Okay, we're ready.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can
One-
hear you
one
and we're
minute,
ready
Steve.
to go.
Okay.
So you can open the meeting. Steve, you can call the meeting to order.
They muted the broadcast, I think.
Steve,
Yeah.
you can call the meeting to order.
Okay.
We're ready.
Okay. All right. It is official time to call the meeting to order. The first order of business is the roll call. And in attendance, we have Manager Wynant and Manager Robertson. And we have 3 members absent today. Manager Waller and Manager Bradley are both gone with prior notice, and I'm home on doctor's orders. So the next order of business, I believe, is to pick somebody to stand in as president, and I nominate Marcy Wynant to be president for this meeting as pro temp president. I think that's sufficient, isn't it, John?
So I'll second that. And,
Thank you. And I will turn it over to Marcy.
okay, without
Need
objection.
to
Thank you.
vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay.
Madam
thank-
President,
Yes, John?
sorry, I just want to make sure the record is very clear. Manager Wagaman indicated that there are 3 members absent. Actually, only 2 members are absent. Managers Bradley and Waller. Manager Wagaman is appearing pursuant to Minnesota Statute Section 13D.02, Subdivision 1B2, which allows him to attend from a non-public location up to 3 times in a given year, provided that he is under advice of healthcare or of a medical professional, which he is in this case. This will be his first time appearing in a non-public location under that statute. And again, we'll just keep track of that so it can't exceed 3. That's all. Thank you, Madam President Pro Tem.
Thank you, John. Our first order of business then is to approve the agenda.
Need to, yep. Staff have no proposed changes.
Okay.
I'm here for all of it, so
Yeah,
let's
do you
go.
want to move the agenda?
Oh, sure, I'm happy to move the setting of the agenda.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Same sign. Agenda's approved. And approval of the minutes.
Perfect. Madam Pro Tem, I would go ahead and make a motion to approve the January 22, 2025 regular meeting minutes in addition to the January 2022 Ramsey County Ditch Drainage System Correction Public Hearing.
Thank you. I'll second that.
Second.
Oh, thank you,
Okay.
Steve.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Okay, minutes are approved. Next order is our consent agenda. And Patrick.
Yes, good morning, Board of Managers. Staff have 3 applications for your consideration today. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from the board members? Okay, these are for 3 applications. 1, the City of Lino Lakes. 2, Centennial Public School. And the 3rd one is the City of New Brighton. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Pro Tem, I would go ahead and make a motion to approve the consent agenda as outlined in the table of contents above, including number 25.002, 25-003, 25-005, in accordance with the district engineer's finding and recommendations.
Thank you.
I can second that.
Thank you, Steve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Okay, consent agenda has been approved. All right, we are now opening the, I'm closing the, what am I doing?
Public hearing.
Closing the,
Recessing the regular meeting and opening the public hearing on the stormwater management grant request from the cities of Centerville, Mounds View, New Brighton, White Bear Township.
okay, got it. Now I have my sheet. Okay. The regular board meeting is now recessed and the public hearing is open on the Rice Creek Watershed District's proposed selection of projects for funding through the district's Stormwater Management Grant Program. In accordance with state law, notice of this hearing has been published for 2 successive weeks in the St. Paul Pioneer Press and mailed to all cities within the Watershed District, as well as the district's 4 counties. I ask those of you in attendance remotely to mute your microphones until it's your turn to speak. The purpose of this hearing is to receive comments from the public on the projects that the board is considering for cost share assistance to the cities of Centerville, Mounds View, New Brighton, and White Bear Township. Before the Watershed District can provide funds for the capital work of these applicants, state law requires that the Board of Managers hold a public hearing, receive public comments, and make judgments that each selected project is a sound and cost-effective project to help fulfill our water resource goals. First, I will ask Will Roach, watershed technician and inspector, to give a brief presentation of the proposed projects. When his remarks are completed, the floor will be open for any members of the public who wish to address the board. For those of you joining us in person, please come forward to the podium. And for those of you joining us remotely, please ask to be recognized and address the board when I recognize you. Speak clearly and state your name and address for the record. If you have a written comment of your statement or any other document that you would like to submit, please inform the board. District staff will provide directions on how to submit material for the record. During public comments, managers are welcome to ask questions of commentators to clarify their remarks. I also ask Mr. Roach, or representative of the project applicants, to respond to any technical questions raised. Managers will hold their comments about this project until the public hearing is closed. At that time, the board will have the opportunity to discuss the project. Board action to select projects for funding is tentatively scheduled for February 26, 2025, during our regular meeting. And before I ask you to proceed, I'd like to welcome all those who are in attendance. We have 2 Citizens Advisory members among us today, and the Citizens Advisory Committee reviewed these applications last week at their meeting. So, Mr. Roach, would you proceed, please?
Thank you, Manager Wynot and Board of Managers. So as noted, this is our public information meeting for the 2025 Stormwater Management Grant Program. Just provide a quick outline for the presentation, starting off by just going over the program goals and the program guidelines for this for 2025, then the application summaries and next steps. So the purpose of the Stormwater Management Grant Program is to foster closer working relationships with our municipal partners by helping them explore innovative stormwater retrofit projects and to also help defray those local costs, while also exploring broader outreach and education opportunities for those communities. For the 2025 program year, applications were due by December 19th of 2024. Like previous program years, a total of $300,000 is available for project cost share. The maximum allowable amount to be awarded per project is not to exceed $100,000. The program guidelines do have an exception for stormwater reuse projects where they may request up to $10,000 per irrigated acre, which may result in a project ask that exceeds $100,000. We did have one reuse application this year, though the request, cost share request is below that $100,000 cap. Applicants are also required to provide at least a 50% match fund, and for this program year, we had a total of 5 applications from 4 communities with a total cost share ask of $463,861. So those applications, as noted, were from Centerville, Mounds View, New Brighton, as well as 2 applications from White Bear Township. First one we have here is Centerville, for the city of Centerville. This is the city is proposing a stormwater reuse system be installed at their city hall site. The storm use system would draw from an existing stormwater basin that is on their property, and would capture discharge that would be normally going to Clearwater Creek and Peltier Lake. Total project cost for this is $50,000 with a requested grant of $25,000. And for water quality benefits, project looks to remove 0.2 pounds of phosphorus annually from the system. Centerville has provided a kind of a site plan here. The red line here is to show the intake system and the areas that would be irrigated by the are highlighted in green. The next application is City of Mounds View. The city is looking to make improvements to Silverview Pond. So this would include the installation of a new forebay with an iron-enhanced filtration bench, 2 new infiltration ponds, the installation of saffle baffles, as well as some improvements onto existing stormwater ponds. Total project cost for this is $475,000. The city has submitted a cost share request of $100,000. And then for water quality benefits, modeling shows a annual removal of 18 pounds of phosphorus and 8,600 pounds of suspended solids. And to show the site plan here, so it is this area in the upper left would be where the forebay improvements would be happening. The area to the south along County Road H2 there is where the improvements to the existing basins would be made. And then these locations here are where the new filtration basins would be installed. And then the area to the right of that would be where the saffle baffles would be installed. The next application is City of New Brighton. Here, the city is looking to replace 3 existing catch basins with sump catches and saffle baffles as part of a larger road reconstruction project. Target water body here would be Rice Creek with a total project cost of $57,222. City has submitted a cost share request of $28,611. Proposed water quality benefits would be the removal of 38 to 56% of total suspended solids. You can see here on their site plan, the basins circled in red are where those proposed saffle baffles would be installed. And then for the first of the White Bear Township applications, the city is proposing to install an underground stormwater detention chamber underneath the existing parking lot at Bel Air Beach. The intent of the basin would be to help address stormwater runoff concerns, which are overtopping in the existing basin, and as a result are also leading to erosion to the shoreline area. For here, total project cost is $474,000. The city did submit an initial request of $237,000. When staff did meet with the city during the pre-application meetings, it was noted to the city that for the project of this nature, the maximum awardable grant would be $100,000, which the city acknowledged and did state they would be willing to accept a lower offered amount. So here's a diagram of the proposed storm trap system that would be installed under that parking lot. And this would be their site plan. So the area circled, highlighted in gray here is the location of the parking lot. And then this system would be connected to the stormwater pond that was approved under last year's grant, and then would also ultimately be connected to the existing stormwater basin that is in the park. The intent is for these three areas to act as a multi-stage system to help control peak runoff rates so that the stormwater basin does not get overwhelmed during 10-year and 100-year flood events. And then the city also did provide some photos of what the conditions of the shoreline look like at the moment due to that excessive runoff and erosion. And then the last application is, again, White Bear Township. Here, the city is looking to propose to install 3 sump manholes with sapphire baffles in the Silver Fox area neighborhood. Again, to help address total sediment, suspended solid removal for Bald Eagle Lake. The total project cost is $146,500, and the city has submitted a cost share request of $73,250. So the locations of those 3 sites where those sapphire baffles will be installed are flagged here in red. So currently runoff from this area runs to the wetland complex to the east of the project area here, and then through a ditch is transported to Bald Eagle Lake. So as part of the stormwater review process, stormwater grant review process, each application is reviewed by district staff, by Houston Engineering as the district's engineering consultant, and then as well as the CAC members. Those scores from each of those members is then aggregated into a final weighted average, which we have here. Mounds View came out as the highest ranked project with a score of 90. New Brighton with 81.8. The Bell at White Bear Township's underground storage chamber project with 81.3. The Centerville project at 74.8, and then White Bear Township's Sapphire Baffle project at 71.2. And then here is where I'll pause if the board would like to open up for public comment before I move on to next steps.
So this is the board's chance or the public's chance?
Madam Chair Pro Tem, this is your opportunity to ask Will if you have any clarifying questions to begin with, and then you would move on to open it up for public comment.
Okay. Steve, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. Well, I guess I do have a question. Did I hear at the beginning we are passing this at the next meeting, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Thank you. I just have not had a time to look at these as rigorously as I would have for the same reason I'm not there, but I will before the next meeting for sure.
Okay.
Nope. Chair Pro Tem, I'm
Yep.
good. Thank you. Thank you, Will.
I have a question about the White Bear Township one. The last one that you showed us, and you have a picture of Bald Eagle Lake and the highway and the ditch. So I recall that we're looking at that ditch to do some work on it. Do you want, let's see. I think you have
You're looking at the Bel Air one, you want.
this,
Yeah.
you probably don't have that one.
I don't have that particular image in the presentation.
Okay, where are we at? We've done some work on that ditch, or we've had public hearings on,
This,
no? Oh,
Madam President Pro
Yes.
Tem, yeah, the ditch that goes between White Bear Lake and Bald Eagle Lake is Ramsey County Ditch 11, and the district did construct a iron enhanced sand filter on in line with that ditch there and a pond that would do water quality treatment, but that is west of where these sapphire baffles would be, so it wouldn't be engaging that area at all.
okay, great. Thank you for that clarification. All right, any other questions from the board? Okay, if now, I now invite anyone who would like to offer comments about the proposal project to do so. Welcome.
Hello. Madam Pro Temp and Commissioners, my name is Mark Stotts. I'm the City Engineer and City Administrator for the City of Centerville. Thank you for having me today, and thank you for considering our grant application. I'm just here to simply advocate for our project. A couple of things that may not have been mentioned in the, or highlighted in the presentation here are just that this is a project at City Hall, and so we feel like there's a real strong educational component to this. And I don't know how much that entered into people's scores, but you know, I've been involved throughout my career in a number of those type of projects. We did one when I was a consultant for the Mississippi Watershed Management Organization at their facility, you know, right on the Mississippi River. We're here right on the Clearwater Creek. The board is looking at a project on Clearwater Creek coming up in the next year or two here, which is also known as Judicial Ditch 3, or connected. They're the same water body eventually. And we just did a great project on Centerville Lake. We thank the board for that. It's a great success. The next lake on our list is Peltier Lake. That's the other large lake in our city. Clearwater Creek connects to that. We'd love to get a jump start on starting to help the water quality of that project, of that lake, and this project would be a nice little starting point. It's a very modest ask. It's something we have experience with. We've got past success with the board in a project down on Lamont Park. It's a much larger stormwater reuse system that we're using, and had a very good run with that as well. But here we're much smaller scale, and we'd like to set an example for our residents on how to do small scale stormwater reuse, and we're very excited about the project and think it would be again a great opportunity for some public engagement, you know, surrounding that project at City Hall. Just another quick question I would have, I didn't see quantitative water quality impacts for some of the projects, and I know that was on the application, and I took some pains to get there to my little tiny 0.2 pounds, which seems like a small number, but it's a good start. I just didn't see those same water quality results on the presentation. I don't know if those were available to the board or not on some of the projects. So that's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Let's address that, Will. I do believe they're in our packet, at least, if we hadn't done it on the screens.
Yeah, so the two projects in particular that did not have those quantified, I believe, were both the two White Bear Township applications. Yeah, so for yeah, so I think just for within program context of, you know, the guidelines to require, you know, applications to be preliminary in nature. You know, the intent is to avoid applicants, you know, running up a, you know, significant cost and then maybe not get potential funding. For the Bel Air Beach project, you know, well, it's not a quantitative figure being provided in the application. With the, you know, with the run-up with the peak control project, peak control being provided by the underground detention chamber, as well as the other two, the existing stormwater basin, and then the pond that was approved under last year's grant program. We would see that minimizing erosion along White Bear, the shoreline area of the beach, which would help minimize water quality impacts to White Bear Lake as a whole. For the SAFL-BAFL aspect, staff did reach out to the township to see if they had any, if they had done any further analysis ahead of the meeting. At this time, they have not, but for a SAFL-BAFL project, you know, it is a kind of time-tested sediment and phosphorus removal feature. I know the looking through some additional materials that the township did provide, you know, generally speaking, there are reductions depending on both the drainage area as well as depth of installation and sizing of the system itself. So they can, you know, reductions can vary from about 8%. White Bear Township does know that. I think on average they've experienced about a 55% reduction with similar features.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I would also note that I was at the Citizens Advisory Committee meeting when they were looking at these applications, and there was conversation about exactly what you had said, that this was an application that was at City Hall, and it was a great example for the residents to see what can be done with a number of water quality projects. So thank you for those comments. All right. Then anyone else have comment, would like to speak to a proposal?
Madam Mayor, Madam Pro Tem, I'm here
Wrong
because
form of
my
government,
counselor
Niall.
says I need to work on my public speaking skills, so I thought I'd take this opportunity. But seriously, I just wanted to give the board some background. We're very thankful for the opportunity. The city of Mounds View started getting serious a decade ago, well, 12 years ago, about their stormwater. And since that time, they've been systematically increasing their stormwater rates, building up the fund. And in the last 3 years, they made significant investments in forensic analysis of the entire system. And this year, this winter, right now, we're dredging Arden Pond. The city is pretty much served by two ponds, the Silverview Pond and the Arden Pond. I think 80% of our stormwater is going through those ponds. The city has hired a stormwater specialist sitting behind me, this young lady to my left. We've made significant investments in Arden. We need to make significant investments in Silverview. This is just the start because there's significant vegetation restoration that's going on. This is going to be a multi-year project and investment. We've got more rain gardens in Mounds View, I think, than anybody in the state of Minnesota. We've maintained all those this year. We've got them all cleaned out. And so you're one of the few people that can appreciate all this stuff, right? So I just wanted to share the commitment we're making and appreciate the opportunity to get the grant. Thank you.
Thank you, Niall. And thanks to Mounds View for having us here in their City Hall for our meetings. Any other comments? Anyone else would like to speak, please? Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Terry O'Connell. I live in Lino Lakes on Main Street. So yes, I agree, there is a wonderful area to educate people. But something came up at the meeting that I, of course, never thought about, is fertilizing. To not fertilize the ground that you're going to use to the water, because that actually goes back into the stormwater pond, which eventually ends up in the creek and the lake. So I don't know if we can put something in our, when people request to do that, so that they know don't fertilize the lawns, because we're kind of defeating the purpose a little bit by putting it back in. So other than that, that's it. Thank you.
And Terry is a member of the Citizens Advisory Committee. Anyone else would like to speak to these proposed projects? Yes, sir.
If you'll entertain me again, I would love to respond to that. It's an excellent question. The city does fertilize its lawn out front. However, we'd be more than happy to cease that because stormwater has a built-in fertilizer. It's phosphorus. It's one of the ones that we outlawed in most fertilizer now, so we could actually get better fertilizer maybe from our stormwater. So we'd be glad to agree to that we would stop fertilizing City Hall's lawn if we were irrigating from our pond. So that's an excellent suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, there you go. Took care of it right here. Any other comments? Okay. So there being no further testimony from the public, I would close this public hearing and open the matter up for board discussion. So Manager Wegeman, any discussion points?
Not at this time.
Not at this time? Manager Robinson?
I mean, I think that we would anticipate a more robust conversation when we have the remaining of our board members here. I know there are certain members of our board that are very passionate about in particular projects, so I want to at least give them the space to do that before, I offer
Right.
any opinions on it. But thanks to Will and the CAC for doing a thorough job and kind of taking the load of the brunt of the work off of this body and really laying it out simply for us to review. So thank you for that.
Great. Will, any other comments?
Yeah, I think just last matter here will just be next steps for the program. So as previously noted, final board, no board decision is required today. That'll be made at the upcoming February 26th meeting. Staff, and then I was just going to go over some funding items here. Potentially ask
So
for some.
before you do that, do you want to make a comment now?
Madam President, Pro Tem.
Yeah.
I think Will's going to cover it here, but
Okay.
basically it's an opportunity for the board to give us a little funding direction or direction. Currently, we're under the direction you gave when you authorized the release of the grant, $300,000 cap, $100,000 maximum for each. And you saw that we have applications that exceed that. So Will's leaping into that here.
Okay, leap, Will, leap.
Yes. So yeah, again, just a summary table here of the projects and their total project costs, as well as their requested grant amounts. Again, total requested funds is $463,861, which exceeds the program budget by a fair amount. The projects manager, David Petrie, who could not be here today, did provide a potential funding option here that would allow funding for the projects while also staying within the $300,000 budget of the program. So under this option, there'd be some reductions to Centerville and then the White Bear Township South Baffle project, as those are the two that came out as with the lower weighted averages. So that would reduce Centerville from $25,000 to $20,000, and then for the White Bear Township Silver Fox South Baffle project from $73,250 to $51,389. So yeah, I guess at this time, staff would ask the board for direction if you would like us to look at any other potential funding amounts or options.
Did I hear you say you talked to the project managers in Centerville and White Bear Township?
So this was, it's noted that on all 5 of the applications that received this year, they have, there's a box that asks, are you open to being offered a lesser amount? All those applications have been checked that as yes. And then this was the potential funding option that the district's projects manager proposed.
Okay, so conversations with with Centerville or White Bear Township has not occurred yet?
Correct.
Correct, okay.
I mean, I can comment. Since we kind of dialogued this briefly at our workshop on Monday, I do think that there is multiple responsibilities on behalf of the watershed. Number one, I think we are promoting that responsibility and partnership with communities and projects regarding stormwater. In addition to that, we have a responsibility to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. I don't think there was any inclination from, if I'm reading the room correctly, when we met on Monday, I think that working within the $300,000 that we have is more than appropriate. It sounds like the application was up front and saying, hey, it's up to this amount. I don't think these are grants, not a guarantee. So I think that it is evident that there is a strong willingness and desire to continue partnerships with the communities within the watershed. I think this reflects that. I think the recommendation of the project manager in-house, I think, has done a fine job in identifying how we can work within the budget that we've laid out specific to this grant program.
Manager Wagaman, any comments?
Well, my comment would be that I agree with everything that was just said. I have not had a chance to really dig into them, but I know that we discussed it at the board workshop, and I agree with everything that was said, so I'm fairly comfortable. I think he did do a good job of laying it out clearly and I guess I agree with what he's saying. However, I still want to dig into it, and I may have some comments to call in or give at a different time here when I can look at it a little closer, but everything looks good to me so far.
Well, I think what we've heard is that we'd like to stick within the proposed amount,
Yeah.
300,000. That applicants have agreed to have a discussion, and that maybe the next step for staff is to meet with those applicants to see if, A, the project can still go forward with the amounts that we're recommending, and if they, what kind of comments they might have regarding their application.
Okay.
So, do we need?
All right, Manager,
Yeah.
Board President Pro
Yeah,
Tem,
whatever.
we'll take that direction from you. We'll come back with our potential funding option, answer to the question of how the two communities with alternative amounts might be concerned or have comment otherwise. At this time, we need no action, and staff will stand at the ready for the robust discussion on the 26th.
Yeah, and it appears like you don't have to go too far because both applicants are in the room, so there we are.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all for attending this public hearing, and you're sure welcome to stick around for the rest of our exciting business that we have here, so. please
Madam
come.
President,
Yes, John.
let's just make clear that now the hearing is being continued
Oh,
to a
yes.
spot on the agenda at the February 26th regular meeting of the Board of Managers at 9 a.m. or thereafter on the agenda when it will appear. And in the Mounds View City offices, the same location that you're in today, at which time the board will consider remaining evidence and take a final action regarding the issuance of the grants.
Thank you for that information, and we'll move on.
Reconvene the regular meeting.
Okay, so
Yep.
we've closed the public hearing, and now I'm reopening the regular meeting of February 12th, which includes open mic. Is anyone here who would like to speak on any item that is not included in the agenda? All right, then let's go on to items requiring board action. Annual designation of depository and newspaper. Mr. Thompson.
Yes, Madam President Pro Tem, your district bylaws require annual designation of the official depository in the district's publishing newspaper. That is to occur at the first regular meeting in February, which is today. The district's official current depository is PMA Financial Network LLC, which is administering the 4M fund with U.S. Bank as the financial institution. And the district's current official newspaper is the St. Paul Pioneer Press. Staff recommends no change to that designation, and I'll just offer a note that when appropriate and would serve a public benefit, we do put notices and such in some of the smaller circulatory papers, but to cover broadly the district, we have to go with the St. Paul Pioneer Press.
Great.
There's a proposed motion at the bottom of page 106.
Do I have a motion to approve our bank and newspaper?
Yeah, Madam Pro Tem, I'll go ahead and move to designate PMA Financial Network LLC to administer the 4M Fund with U.S. Bank as the financial institution, as the official depository of the Rice Creek Watershed District, and the Star Tribune, the Star Tribune. I don't live in this 651 area code, so we don't get y'all's Pioneer Press. The Pioneer Press is the official newspaper of the Rice Creek Watershed District.
And I will second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Same sign, motion passes. And Kendra, I bet you're up next with the Citizens Advisory Member appointments. There she is.
Good morning, Board of Managers. I have today for you the CAC, 2 new members, one from Anoka County, and then the Washington County Soil and Water Conservation District representative that they have brought forth for you today.
Would you give us their names, and if you have any information from the public record here?
Yeah, 1 second. Pull up my notes here. So the one was from Washington County Soil and Water Conservation District. Their board brings forth a representative for them to sit on our Citizen Advisory Committee, and his name is Matt Lindholm. He is their new board supervisor. He has a background in environmental work, and he's very interested in stormwater management and working with the communities as well as the Watershed District. The other applicant from Anoka County is Kate, I'm probably going to butcher her last name, L.S.Lisam. She is, again, from Anoka County. Her background is environmental science. She's involved in the community and some local groups, so she understands, being a part of the community and voicing community concerns is important. She has some effective communication skills from her work in environmental science, and she has very much is motivated to be a part of local water resource management and to be a part of the Citizen Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Kendra. And if these two are appointed, does that mean we now have a full slate of CAC members?
No, we just had another Washington County representative step down from the CAC the other day. Those updates will be coming at the next workshop.
Okay,
so we had a few very recent changes, but we should be almost full.
Perfect, thank you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a motion to?
Madam Pro Temp, I would move to appoint Kate Asleson and Matt Lindholm for membership on the Citizen Advisory Committee for 2025.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you. And again, thank you to all those that serve on that Citizens Advisory Committee, and to the two of you for coming today. Thank you. All right, so now we are on to mini grants again. And Molly, this is you.
Yes, good morning, Madam Pro Tem and Board of Managers. Today, Rice Creek staff are seeking board approval for a professional services contract with the Anoka Conservation District to implement the North Metro Pollinator Pathway Grant, which is distributed through Bowser for the 2025-2026 year. And this will be associated with the district mini grant program, specifically in Anoka County. The grant will be administering 10,000 extra funds for native plant projects under the mini grant program in Anoka County. The North Metro Pollinator Pathways Grant, formerly known as Lawns to Legumes, is focused on harboring pathways of habitat restoration for pollinators, primarily focused on the rusty patch bumblebee and monarch butterflies, but it covers the whole slate of pollinators for benefit. And native plants and pollinator plants are one and the same, and so they both have dual benefit for water quality with the root systems and stabilization of soil and absorbing excess pollutants in stormwater runoff. So district staff will be administering these 10,000 extra funds to Anoka County residents who qualify for eligible practices, including native plants.
Molly, do you expect this in every county? Are we going to see something similar in Ramsey and Washington?
No, right now it is only through Anoka County. The Anoka Conservation District applied for this grant in late 2024.
Okay.
They reached out to partnering organizations to see if they would like to kind of hop in on these funds as well. So I have not heard anything from Ramsey or Washington yet.
Any other questions for Molly about this, or I entertain a motion?
I do actually have a question, and I don't know if it's a question to you or whomever, and forgive me, there's a lot of just kind of random information regarding this in particular program. I see the motion that's laid out in the packet. Typically, when it comes to contract for professional services, we at least have some kind of ballpark dollar amount. Is that what this $10,000 is related to?
Correct.
Do we need to include that in the motion, that the amount is not to exceed that dollar amount, something along those lines? Because usually we do. That was really my question, because it's not in the motion itself. We usually include language like that.
Madam President Pro Tem, point of clarification, this is to receive $10,000?
Okay, I just want to make sure, because this, okay, perfect.
So when those dollars expire, we'll be done with this obligation under the contract.
Wonderful.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Yeah, Madam Pro Tem, I'll go ahead and move to authorize the administrator to enter the North Metro Pollinator Pathway 2025 through 2026 contract for professional services between the Anoka County Conservation District and the Rice Creek Watershed.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Same sign. Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Oh, this is a day for lots of staff presentations. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, Matt, welcome.
Thank you. Yes, Madam President Pro Tem, members of the board, thank you for having me. I have an item on page 125 for you of the packet. Here seeking board approval for an agreement with Ramsey County for lake monitoring services in 2025. As we've previously discussed, I think at workshops and board meetings of the past, we have a monitoring program here at Rice Creek. When it comes to lake monitoring, those duties are split among different agencies. So Rice Creek staff monitor about 10 lakes a year. We have volunteers with the Citizen Assisted Monitoring Program, sponsored by Met Council, and then we get some help from Ramsey County. Since 2016, the Rice Creek Watershed District has been reimbursing Ramsey County for the time that they spend to do this monitoring on lakes throughout Ramsey County. Jumping ahead, if you wanted to, or if you were interested exactly which lakes these were on Ramsey County, you'd look at page 131 of the board packet that lists out the lakes. You'll see some lakes are listed multiple times. That's because there's multiple sampling locations. For example, White Bear Lake, very large lake, so multiple sampling locations. I'll note that the costs then for this program are shown on page 133 of the packet, and that's what's included in the motion. But just in case you had any questions or confusion, on page 134 it also shows laboratory analysis costs. Those are not included in the motion here. That's because we pay those costs separately, not on a contract basis, but on a fee-for-service basis. But both of these costs to Ramsey County for their time and the lab costs that we incur are budgeted. These are anticipated costs, and these fit within the budget. So that's the quick overview. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, there is a motion on page 126.
Madam President Pro Temp, I would move to authorize the administrator to enter into an agreement with Ramsey County for lake monitoring services in 2025 for an amount not to exceed $28,532.84.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. All right, motion passes. Thanks, Matt. That was easy. And you got another one.
Just a really quick point of clarification. If we're going to open, we at least allow space for dialogue. Once that motion is made and seconded, that allows for dialogue amongst the group instead of just like going right to a vote. I always like to compliment Matt when he's up here because Matt has like the most fascinating job within the watershed, I think. No, you really do. No offense to y'all, but he gets to do the cool stuff. So, I mean, just from a parliamentary perspective, leave the floor open for comment.
And Matt is up next, so you can tell him.
I'll tell him again.
Yes, tell him that again.
Next item, yes. Continuing on, I have an item on page 136 of the board packet. This is for professional services for the district's CARP management program in 2025. Take a moment to brag here for the district. This was the program that was awarded Program of the Year by Minnesota Watershed this past year, so that's a nice thing to mention. So the district is continuing this year with our CARP management program in the Long Lake Lino Chain of Lakes system. This is in accordance with the board-approved CARP management plan, most recently updated in 2022. The contract that we're looking at here today is for a company called CARP Solutions, who we've worked with since the inception of this program. CARP Solutions provides the labor and the specialized services to run parts of this program. Some of the highlights are the things that they do. Probably the biggest one is labor for carp removal, transport, and disposal. The removals happen at 2 different locations, one in Rice Creek, just upstream of Long Lake, another one near our new physical barrier on Johanna Creek near the New Brighton Community Center. That's where those activities take place. Let's see, I'll note this year, as in past years, our management costs have been declining. And this is what we were planning on, this is what we were hoping for. Originally, when we set out with this program, we knew it was going to be a heavy lift the first few years, literally a heavy lift the first few years, as we're removing many hundreds of thousands of pounds of carp from the system. But as the carp population has declined, our costs associated with this program have declined. So this year, our cost is about, I think, 15% lower than last year, and our costs with CARP Solutions have been declining about 10 to 15% every year for the past few years. So that has been good. I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, we have a proposed motion on page 137.
Madam President Pro Temp, I do have one question for Matt. I am wondering if he could explain where the fish are going that we are getting rid of, and who is receiving these, or what are we doing with them? I had somebody in the public ask me that, and I had a half an answer, but I'd like to get a clear, concise idea where all of the fish are going, and are we getting paid for them, or are we paying them to take them, or how's that working?
Yep, Madam Pro Tem, Manager Wagaman. CARP Solutions disposes of them. What they do with them doesn't really fall under the purview of our contract. But I can tell you that CARP Solutions previously did all of this work under a special permit from the DNR. So I'll take a moment to note. Permits are required for the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources to remove these fish from the lake and get rid of them. CARP Solutions has operated under multiple different permits from the DNR over the years. They used to operate under a special fisheries management permit, which required that they either incinerate or bury the fish. Those were, I think, literally the only 2 options under the permit. And so the fish were buried in various farm fields. So CARP Solutions would have a contract with a farm somewhere, and they would be buried in a hole. More recently, it's my understanding that CARP Solutions did acquire a certain type of a commercial fishing license, and so at some point in the future, there may be other ways for them to dispose of the fish, although I'm not getting my hopes up that they're going to be selling them at great profit and those costs will trickle down to the district. There is just no commercial market for common carp.
Thank you very much.
Madam Pro Tem, I'll go ahead and move, to authorize the administrator to enter into a professional services agreement with CARP Solutions, LLC, for the amount to not exceed $86,060. The administrator is further authorized to approve contract amendments for additional work not to exceed 20% of the contract cost.
And I will second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
No, I will, again, once reiterate, I really think you get to do the cool stuff. You really do. But I think what is, I'm not an expert in these things, which is evident by the comments that I make in these meetings. But what I do appreciate about what you do is it is like real time, we can see the impact that it makes. And it's just fascinating to me. So I appreciate what you do. I think that this program is really incredible, as evident by winning prizes for being as awesome as it is. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Manager.
Let me call the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Tom, it looks like you're up next. Washington Judicial Ditch number 2, right-of-way maintenance.
Yes, Madam President, Board of Managers, not as exciting as Matt's, but
Sorry, Tom.
no, it's all right. It's the bones of the operation. For your consideration is a work order for Dunaway Construction for additional right-of-way maintenance on JD2 in Hugo. A little bit more background. You as a board approved some of this work at your previous meeting, in addition to the work that the administrator and the board president approved under delegation. But in order to, since these are starting to aggregate into a larger amount of money, we decided that it'd be best to be transparent and have you approve this next section. And the reason for breaking them into pieces is to allow for contractor flexibility and take advantage of weather conditions. So this is it's on page 144 of your packet, if I believe, if my numbering is correct. So we would ask that you would approve this work. This work is important for overall right-of-way maintenance of the ditch and access for repair and maintenance.
So Tom, is this the ditch that runs into Centerville Lake eventually?
No, it is not. It goes into Peltier. It starts in Hugo at Rice Lake and winds its way through Hugo and Forest Lake and terminates in Peltier Lake.
Okay. Any questions of Tom on this? All right, I would move to approve Washington Judicial Ditch number 2, work order for Dunaway Construction as outlined and directed by staff in the District Drainage Department repair report, number 25-020, estimated at $19,500.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions?
No.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign? Okay, no further discussion, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Nick?
Yes, Board of Managers, you have 2 Houston Engineering task orders before you for consideration and approval. These are annual costs and task orders that the district sees and have been budgeted for accordingly. Task order 2502, totaling cost of $20,000. This is to maintain our GIS viewers as well as our Drainage DB software subscription. And then task order 2503, which is at $22,000, is for the MS Forefront software subscription. That's the software that you've seen the regulatory team query to bring up data and such, and houses all the procedural steps and such that we go through there in our regulatory program and otherwise, as well as our grants. And that task order, 2503, also is the configuration of that system and development of different reports that staff may want to utilize. There is a motion at the bottom of page 148. Happy to answer any questions.
Madam Pro Tem, I'll go ahead and move the approval of the Houston Task Order 2025-02 and 2025-03 and authorize District Administrator to sign.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Before it's all over, Chris, I'd like to talk, is MS Forefront being used by other watershed districts and counties I understand Renville County is now using it to determine the impacts of the Clean Water Council funds, the WB, Watershed-based implementation funds. Is that the same system?
Yeah, Madam President Pro Tem, yes. So we developed this originally for municipalities to be able to track their obligations as MS4s. But it's expanded beyond that now, so we do have a number of watershed districts that have run their permitting program through MS4 front, like Rice Creek does, and we have, in recent years, as you alluded to, had a few clients now that have purchased it to manage their tracking of distributions for watershed-based implementation funds coming out of their One Watershed, One plans that they have.
And is MS4 front what's used to determine the phosphorus and nitrogen savings that the applications we saw earlier today, to calculate those?
The program itself doesn't calculate those quantities, but it's a means of tracking that,
Okay.
and so that you can track the progress that you're making.
Great. Okay. Any further questions? If not, I'll call the questions. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Same sign. Aye. Motion passes. Okay. Looks like the treasurer is up next. So I move that this board approve the check register dated February 12th, 2025 in the amount of $181,474.86 prepared by Redpath and Company.
I'll second.
Good.
Any other questions, comments about the report? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Right. At this point, I would also, as treasurer, point out that I received a letter from Redpath and Company letting us know that the audit is being initiated and is in full swing. So I have a copy for each of you on this one. And just want to let board members know that audit standards require us to inquire of those directly charged with the governance as their knowledge or suspicion of fraud, as well as their views about fraud risk. As such, you as board members can please contact Redpath and Company if there's anything you'd like to discuss in this regard. All right, and Steve will get this to you and to the rest of the board members. Okay, Chris, might you have anything to update us on the engineer's report?
Madam President Pro Tem, nothing specific regarding the report, though certainly can address any questions you might have. I'll just also note that our company has acquired another company that is within the metro area. That company is called HTPO. They're out of Eden Prairie. And so I'm letting you know this because we're always very open about our working relationship with Rice Creek and want to alert Rice Creek of any potential for conflict of interest. And so that company really does not do work within the watershed district to any great extent. It does have one existing work project that it's working with the state of Minnesota that is located within Lino Lakes, but that is a permit that is being processed by district staff and not by Houston Engineering. So, and just to reiterate too that we do not take on any work within the Rice Creek Watershed District that has in any way any intersection with the Rice Creek permitting program. It's something we've taken on to avoid any potential for conflict of interest. So,
Thank you. We'll probably discuss some of this as managers give updates, but have you had any drainage work group meetings recently and any update on that we should be aware of?
Not lately. The drainage work group will not be meeting while the legislative session is going on. I would anticipate their next meeting would be in June.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Chris, Steve, or Jess?
Nope.
Okay. Then we're on to administrators' updates. Nick?
Yes, Madam President, Pro Tem Board, a couple updates for you. You'll recall Ramsey County Ditch 1, we held the public hearing and its continuance was to be determined. That does require staff to have a little bit of planning because we need to send out postcards to those citizens, once again, interested parties. So our proposal to the board would be to estimate that coming back, or intend for that to come back on March 26th, its regular board meeting. And we will begin sending postcards here at the end of February.
Okay, March 26th.
Correct. So we have to give ample notice ahead of that meeting.
Okay.
So we would send out the postcards with that date.
Any comments about that? Okay, and you have direction about what additional information you want to look at?
Yes, the board gave that at the public hearing event itself, as well as some follow-up discussion we had with individual managers at what would have been otherwise been a workshop.
Okay. Yep. Do we need to, do we need to declare, declare that as an emotion, or are we just?
I would think not, that by
Nope.
noticing the meeting, we are demonstrating to the public that its date and time has been determined.
Okay, so a continuation of the Ramsey County Ditch 1 public hearing
Yes,
will convene on March 26th
at the regular board.
at the regular
meeting.
board
Yep.
meeting here in Mounts View. Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
All right. Next in my updates, moment of celebration. The district was awarded a planning and design grant, sewer overflow and stormwater reuse municipal grant from the PCA for $71,000. Houston Engineering and David in our office, and I'm sure others, participated in the writing of that. That is for the Moore Lake Watershed to update the models and identify high priority projects for that area. So good news there. Met Council has reached out to the district. They're inquiring about the models that we may have available for White Bear Lake. They're contemplating augmentation of the surface water in White Bear Lake. Certainly they, as well as the district, have concerns about water quality and AIS, aquatic invasive species, and maintaining a positive water quality in that body. So stay tuned for that. Minnesota Watersheds, next item here, is moving forward with potential changes to its resolution and legislative approach. You know, annually they come to the watersheds to membership and ask for any resolutions on things you'd like to have them focus on. They intend to move that up, and they have set, I guess tentatively, a date of now March 21st. It's a Friday, which would be membership voting on resolutions. And that would be at the Park Event Center in Waite Park. So they asked us to communicate and save the date, Friday, March 21st. Moving on from there, the district's does have annual engagement on its MS4 permit with the Pollution Control Agency. In the past, we've dialogued with them concerns with their capture of the public drainage system as being subject to MS4 jurisdiction, being both waters of the state and also considered a storm sewer or untreated water, those types of things. And we've dialogued about the district's potential removal from jurisdiction, since we don't manage storm sewers that are within the streets. Might be a good way to illustrate them visually. And then we do have, Hanson Park or E2 Outlet. These have control structures, typically flood control. There are some water quality benefits, but again, we're not transporting polluted water. So that's ongoing. We will be returning to the board likely. They would like us to request to be removed from jurisdiction, which in my mind is perhaps a little bit backwards, but we'll bring their form forth and ask for the board to consider it and discuss as necessary.
And the agency you're dealing with there is MPCA?
Pollution Control Agency, yes.
And the Met Council, or?
Nope.
No, just PCA, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's all you have. All right. Since you mentioned Minnesota Watersheds, this next Wednesday is the legislative meetings?
Correct.
Okay, and we've all received some information about that. That's Wednesday during the day, and then visits to the members at the Capitol on Thursday. Or do I have
Yes.
that mixed?
Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday, I think, we'll communicate the schedule to you.
Mm-hmm.
But the morning is the Minnesota Association of Watershed Administrators. The afternoon is basically Minnesota Watersheds and our partnering agencies, Bowser and Stutch, giving updates in regards to the status, if you will, on the landscape of the legislative issues. And the next day is an opportunity to meet with our elected folks at the state level. I would like to take the opportunity to note that I continue to outreach in regards to our Ramsey County Ditch 235 projects. Most notably is our next project in the phasing of projects. I think it's project 4 out of 7, potentially 8. Seeking funding for that. I've engaged Representative Feist. I've reached out to Senator Kunish. We have an open seat in Representative District, I think it's 40A?
Roseville?
B, yeah, Roseville. I do have an appointment with at Senator Feist's suggestion with one of the candidates for that position, just to explain what we're doing. At this time, I don't have an author intending to carry the bill. Sandra declined, noting a priority issue within her area that she'd rather carry. But I think we're making some headway there.
So you put together you and Kendra put together a very nice packet about that last time around. We should probably have that available for us next Wednesday.
Yeah, at President Wynant Pro Tem. We would indeed like to update that. At this time, we don't have those documents do include bill numbers, but those don't exist yet. And we could certainly mention the phasing, but they need a bit of scrubbing. I don't know if our bill will be introduced ahead of next week. I wouldn't think so, but we'll see.
So Manager Wagaman or Robinson, do you plan to be at the legislative event?
No, actually, February 19th is my Met Council Day.
Okay.
So I'll be trapped down there already, doing other really cool stuff.
And Steve, we'll see how you feel. Huh?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping, but I don't know.
Okay, great. Well, I do intend to be there on the 19th, so I'll visit with our colleague Watershed District members, as well as any legislators that might be there. That's my update. Do you have any updates?
No, Madam Pro Tem, I do not.
Okay. And Manager Wagaman?
The only thing that I have is I would just like to thank you for, under very short notice, taking over as President Pro Temp and doing an excellent job. So thank you very much for doing that.
Well, thank
That's
you.
all
I've
I
had some
have.
great examples. Good. Well, if there's no further business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
I'll second that. Okay, motion adjourned. All those that say, yeah, aye, aye. We got it. We're done.